everyone, so if you watched last week's video, then you know that I talked about all about kind of the basics of gestational diabetes and how they get you started with the tools that you need to have a successful rest of your pregnancy when it comes to having gestational diabetes. Now I'm going to get into the nutritional part of it and kind of what I talked to with the dietitian and what they recommend that you eat and things like that. Now, I have gestational diabetes, so this is kind of just my experience and what I learned and things like that. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. And yeah, let's get started. So one of the things that the dietitian gave me, I think the only thing the dietitian gave me, besides my little doctor's note, was this paperwork from the Canadian Diabetes Association. And she never really went over this, or maybe she did verbally, I can't remember, but this has information on grains and fruits and all that, vegetables, meat and alternatives. But this was the important part. So it comes with this little measuring if you ever needed to measure fruit. Like for example, you can have 2 inches of a banana, so you would measure 2 inches if you needed to, and to eat every 2 to 3 hours. This is just kind of like the legend, so this means 1 cup, half cup, quarter cup, measure after cooking, a teaspoon and a tablespoon. And so she crossed off items for me because they just weren't realistic, and I love that she did that. So she crossed off banana for me because realistically, who's gonna peel a banana and only eat 2 inches of a banana? That's just not realistic. I mean, for some people it is, but for most people it isn't. She also crossed off bagel and cereal because you can't really have much of it. So it's not really even, just to make things easier. Another thing she crossed off was canned fruit, juice, dried fruit, brownies, jams, muffins, and sugar. She didn't really explain why I can't have muffins or brownies or things like that. But that's fine because I do have other options. And so this is kind of what my meal plan is. So I have to eat 6 times a day. Obviously, if you need to eat more, if you're hungry, things like that. I'll talk about that more, what I've been doing if I'm hungry and it's not time to eat again. So meal 1 is, I can have 1 carb. So 1 carb is 15 grams of carbohydrates is one serving of carbs. So I have 1 servings of carbohydrates. So that can be grains and starches, fruits, or milk and alternatives. And I have other choices for like desserts and things like that. So for example, for breakfast, I have Ezekiel toast and 2 scrambled eggs with a little bit of ketchup, butter on my toast, and that's it. That's my meal 1. You are not to have fruit with your meal 1 or your meal 6. So your first meal of the day, your last meal of the day, no fruit. So that is something that I have. It's got my 1 carb, which is my 1 slice of Ezekiel bread, and protein I can have as much of. They do want you to have protein with your meal 1, your meal 3, your meal 5, and your meal 8. I try to have it with all my meals just because you can have as much protein as you want. They don't limit it. So it's gonna help me fill up, and so I'm not starving when it comes to my next meal. So that is an example of something I have for breakfast. Another example too is oatmeal with stevia. You can have different sugars. You can't have table sugar, but there are sugars on the back that I can kind of explain to us that you can have as sweeteners. Syrups are another no-no, so no maple syrup, no, nothing like that. You know, you can have 1 waffle with, say, peanut butter and vegetables or something like that, because your proteins and your vegetables are, you can have as much protein or vegetables. They are not limited, which is really nice. And then meal 2 is like 2 to 3 hours later, and you can have 2 servings of carbohydrates. So it could be 2 servings of fruit, it could be a fruit and a grain, a fruit and a milk alternative, anything like that. So what I've been doing is I've been having smoothies. So I have half a mango with protein powder and water and an Activia yogurt. That's my Activia yogurt, and my mangoes are my 2 carbs, and then protein powder and water I can have as much of. So I just throw that in to kind of give me some more calories. And then meal 3 is lunchtime. I can have 3 servings of carbohydrates. So I could have, say, a third a cup of cooked rice times 3 with some vegetables and meat. There's my protein that I need, so the chicken, and I can have as much vegetables as I want. And then a few hours later, I can have 1 carbohydrate, so I could have 1 serving of fruit, I could have 1 slice of bread, 1 waffle, things like that. And usually I'll have like cheese and crackers, so my crackers is my carb. I can have 7 soda crackers with, say, cheese, and that is my meat and alternatives. It doesn't fall under milk and alternatives. The cheese I can have as a protein. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And then my dinner is the same as lunch. I can have 3 carbohydrates, so I can just have leftovers from lunch, or I can have something else. Today for dinner I had on a 6-inch tortilla wrap, so I can have 3 of those with some vegetables, chickpeas, and some ranch dressing, because dressing is something that I can have unlimited. What else? Oh, and then my last snack, I can have 2 carbohydrates, and I go to my other choices as like my dessert. So I can have, say, a cup of ice cream, which would be my 2 servings, with peanut butter, which would be my protein. So that's kind of what is what you have to do in a day, and you learn real quickly. I thought this information at first was overwhelming, but you'd be surprised at how fast you pick everything up, and you learn what you can and can't have. Beets, carrots, sweet peas, and squash are the 5 vegetables that you can't have more than a cup of, because after that it turns into sugars. Any of the other vegetables you can have as much as you want because they won't turn into sugars. And then they even give you examples of fats that you can have. Cream cheese, mayonnaise, margarine, spreadable cheese, butter, bacon, a quarter of an avocado, salad dressing, and tahini sauce. You can have those. Obviously, they, within reason, don't go overboard with the bacon because you can have it all the time, but those are other options that you can have, and this was really helpful for me when it came to meal planning. And then on the back, it just gives me all the artificial sweeteners I can have. So I can have, I can't even pronounce them, but I will like list them down or list them somewhere on the screen. But something that I do have in my house is stevia. So that's what I've been using. So I made green tea. I can't have juice, but I made green tea. I just put it in the fridge, let it cool, and then I added some stevia to it. Lemon is another idea. I just didn't have lemon in the house. Lemon is safe. And ketchup is safe, just not a ton of it, just a little bit, because it is got sugars in it. And then this is the nutrition fact. So anywhere you see, so for example, this is bread. It says for 2 slices, it's 36 grams of carbohydrates, but you subtract it with the fiber. So 6 grams of fiber, subtract that from 36 grams of carbohydrates is 30 carbohydrates. Divide that by 2 is 15, and so you can have 1 slice of bread because that's 1 serving of carbohydrates. So that's kind of how I learned and how I figured out how to have it and how to read labels, because that's important too, because you might not be, you know, like for example tonight if I had a question, I can just read the label and that would tell me how much carbs it is and if it's safe to have for me. So that is everything for the dietitianal part of it. I can also show you this little meal prepping plan that I made, and it's to help me out and my husband out if he wants to help me and if I'm stuck for ideas. But it's just different meals that I can have. I can have a half a cup of applesauce as long as it's unsweetened. So that's something I have as meal 4. 15 grapes is 1 serving of fruit, things like that. I can have 3 baby crackers, so that equals 1 serving of carb. But I think it's just to being mindful. So I can have 2 cups of strawberries or half a cup of mangoes. They're equal to 1 serving of carbs. Chances are I'm gonna wanna go with the 2 cups of strawberries because there's more of them. Same with the rice. I can have like 1 waffle, or I can have 1/3 a cup of rice. Chances are the rice is probably gonna fill me up a little bit more. So it's kind of like, you know, same with french fries. I can have 10 french fries as a serving as carb, or I can have, like I said, a 1/3 cup of rice. So it's kind of like figuring out what you want to eat as your serving of carbs and what's going to help you keep you full till the next time you can eat again, because that's important too. You never want to go, like I said, into starvation mode. So that is everything for this video. I hope it was helpful and it kind of wasn't too long. If I can, I will try and find this. I believe this is from the, maybe it's not. It might be from the Canadian Diabetes Association, I'm not sure. But I will definitely take a picture of it and link it on my screen so you guys can like maybe read it or pause the video and kind of really look into it. And yeah, that is everything for the nutrition part. I'm definitely going to be doing a meal plan with me video or a meal prepping video with me, show you kind of what my meals are for the week with gestational diabetes. And yeah, that is everything for this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!